duality is one of the most important functioning mechanism of unconsciousness. By its very nature again, it is only consciousness that can be alone, that can stand on its own, that can be its own without any other support. It does not have to lean on anything else. Unconsciousness cannot exist by itself. For example, thoughts. They cannot exist by themselves. They need two forces to support them all the time. The opposing forces. The opposing force that keep the thought moving in between those forces. Unconsciousness can happen only when there are two perfectly diametrical opposing forces in play. Now, these diametrically opposing forces is what we call yin and yang, the duality of life. And everything in existence is a part of this duality. Because everything that we can see and observe and perceive is a part of this unconsciousness. It is a happening. It has just happened. And when something just happens, it should have two forces. Because consciously, you cannot create up. Consciously, you cannot create down. Consciously, you cannot create left or right. Consciously, you cannot create birth or death. Consciously, you cannot create light or darkness, because consciousness doesn't choose. It doesn't take sides. It doesn't know this or that. But unconsciousness, in its unconsciousness, it takes sides. Sometimes it chooses up. Sometimes it chooses down. Sometimes it chooses left. Sometimes it chooses right. Sometimes it chooses pain. Sometimes it chooses pleasure. Sometimes it chooses chaos and confusion. And sometimes it chooses peace and relaxation. Now, all the varying degrees of emotion that we are experiencing is a play of this duality. And our biggest attraction is this duality, and our biggest nemesis is also this duality. Because this duality is what keeps life in its flow. This duality is the core attraction of life. If this duality was not there, if there was only one thing in life, in the life that we see around us, we would have got fed up with it, or we would have not even recognized it. Life, the way we recognize it, would not even have happened without this duality, without these dual forces. One thing is making the other visible. So in that sense, yin and yang are two diametrically opposite forces of life, forces of nature. If yin is night, yang is day. If yin is good, yang is bad. If yin is left, yang is right. You can interchange the words, there's no problem. It's just a way of designating these forces. This is what we call Advaita philosophy. Advaita is eventually the ultimate destination of man is to transcend this duality of life. As long as he is in the clutches of these two forces, he is bound by the forces of life, and he has no choice. For a man who is moving between the forces of yin and yang, choice is an illusion. He thinks he has a choice, but It's always chosen for him. The force chooses for him. It's like if you run fast and if you bump into a wall, you don't have a choice whether to get hurt or not. It's the play of the forces. If you have applied the force in a certain way, the responding force will happen whether you want it or not. It's the same with every dimension of life. If you move up, up as in just going up, let's say you get on a flight and keep flying upwards, and you jump off from there, all that energy that is being used to take you up there will be used to destroy you when you fall down. That is yin and yang. But the beauty of this yin and yang is when you're in one, you will not notice the other. When you're in yin, you're only in yin. So when you're experiencing pleasure, you're totally lost in the pleasure. You don't know the pain. It's complete involvement. But somewhere, the forces know that you cannot remain in that state for too long. It'll eventually throw you back to the yang. Every time we think, oh, I am doing this, it's my conscious decision, that is also part of one of these forces. It's not you choosing. It's the force of life that chooses. That's why the sun determines the mood of our being. The stars determine our mood. Everything around us, the sounds of the birds, the nature around us determines how we function because we are a part of that force. Either we are flowing in yin or flowing in yin or flowing in yang.